Hi guys, and welcome to episode number 11 of Anime Podcasters. I am back with my main girl, Yuki. How's it going?
Hey!
Are you doing well?
Yep.
How's your life since the last podcast episode?
Better.
Better. Butter or better?
Better.
Better. Okay, good. I'm doing good too. This episode is going to be completely out of left field. Like this, you guys were not expecting this to hit your subscription feed today. I don't even know how to even begin and intro this. Yuki, how would you even like introduce this like topic?
Blacklist.
Yes, I think the word saying it like that, Blacklist. Guys, we're going to be talking about banned and blacklisted animes in China. And then we have a very controversial topic relating to anime at the very end. We're not going to say what it is just yet, but it's a very intense thing that happened 9 years ago because of anime. And we're going to be talking about that just because we want to tie it all with the banned animes, and it's a controversial thing. So... and like I guess like the negativity of anime a little bit. This podcast, I'm gonna label it as not work friendly. I usually try to keep the podcast very family friendly and do fun topics and stuff like that.
But this time it's not gonna be as family friendly as it's gonna be like talking about rather sensitive topics. So be warned.
Yeah, no, you guys, like, I just want to do something new and that's never really been tried before in anime podcasting, where we talk about like really controversial stuff. I know maybe it's been done before, but I just want to go into it and see how it goes. And if this podcast turns out to be awesome, maybe we'll do more. We'll see. This is just a topic I thought of in the middle of the night, and like I woke up, I was like, gotta do this podcast, and I wrote it down right away. Okay, so. We're going to be talking about specifically 3 banned animes in China. The very first one is called Terror in Resonance. It's an anime I watched not too long ago, and I would say out of the 3 we're going to talk about, it's not the most intense one, but it's definitely got it definitely packs a big punch. Yuki, you watched a quick clip of it before we got on the podcast. What was your first thoughts on that anime, just on that clip you watched of it?
Well, I just realized that like it was about terrorist bombings, and like I have seen a little bit way before you even brought up this topic. I wanted to do this.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but it was like from an AMV, but I looked it up to check out more because I got really interested. And I looked more into it. I'm just like, what the? Like, it was very interesting, yet it was kind of terrifying because it does relate to terrorist bombings.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, how this anime goes, it's this group called, they call themselves Sphinx, and it takes place in Tokyo, and basically they do these terrorist attacks, and they blow up these different buildings and everything, and basically they're these 2 kids that were part of an orphanage for very gifted like very smart individuals, and they at a very young age they were able to break away, get past security. And in the very first scene of the anime, Yuki, they actually steal like this plutonium from this base, and they use it in the anime, and they do like all these intense like bombings and stuff like that. And it's a very like it's basically, it relates a lot to freedom of speech too, and everything, how they want people to know what really happened to them in the orphanage, and the way they go about it is obviously very very intense. When you hear all about this, like what's your thought on that, like this anime as a whole?
Oh my god, like it seems very interesting, and I really, and I'm actually adding this to like my mini list of like animes I want to watch eventually.
Yeah, for sure.
It's very interesting, and the fact that like I realized that the animation reminds me of Another, I believe. Yeah, it was Another.
Yeah, the anime, I watched that anime too.
And yeah. And I heard that the director was actually the same person that has worked on Cowboy Bebop, I believe. I could be wrong. Oh,
okay.
But that I I'm just assuming. So if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, and I apologize.
No worries. Do you know how many times I've been wrong with this podcast and then people tweeted at me afterwards? Don't worry about it.
Okay, everyone blame it on Jaian. Tweet over at him
Just
and say how wrong he is.
just tweet Canadian at me. That's it. Okay, so that was an inside joke. Sorry, guys. Basically, and what's really cool about this anime is that the way they let people know about the bombings is that they upload these YouTube videos and they give like people like a riddle to solve, and that's the location of the next bombing. And then so like the police are going like absolutely insane, like trying to find these guys, and like all this like crazy stuff is happening. And they recruit this other girl called I think her name was Lucy, if I'm not mistaken.
It's Lisa.
Yeah, sorry, Lisa. I don't know why I said Lucy. They recruit this girl called Lisa, and then she's like at the very first in the very first episode. This is not a spoiler. She has a big decision to make, and then the anime goes on. It's very like there's a lot of terrorism involved in it, and it's very intense. And a lot of people I've read on like on like Facebook groups about anime how like they got offended by this anime because it promotes like all these like wrong things and everything. And I think something we're gonna like mention a lot in this podcast is being able to separate an anime from real life. And I watched this anime and I loved it. Does that mean I like support terrorism and stuff like that? Absolutely not. It's an art form, this anime, and it has a message. And if you're able to like separate yourself from that, that's how you appreciate it as an anime viewer. I do understand it can offend some people, but I do think at the end of the day, if you appreciate art, that's you gotta have to appreciate it, a good anime like this one. What do you think of that? Like, are you able to separate when you watch an anime like that?
I would actually. I would love to watch as much like anime like that if it's gonna be like even though it's kind of like scary to think about, it's actually very interesting, and stuff like that actually captures my interest in creating inspiration. So yeah, I would definitely.
Okay, no. Right on. Was there anything else you wanted to kind of add on to that on that topic, or does that cover it for you?
It covers that for me.
Yeah. Okay. Me too. So yeah, Terror in Resonance. First of the three animes that we wanted to talk about. It's actually blacklisted in China. The next one that we wanted to talk about is High School of the Dead. And I mean, I think. Like, how do I put this? I feel like this like anime in this like the way I perceived it was that it was kind of lighthearted in the sense that there's like obviously there's a lot of themes in there that can offend people, but it was done in almost like a bit of a comedic way where the characters are like really loopy and crazy, and this is why they're doing it. And so I don't know. I do understand that like those themes can be like can be interpreted in a very like offensive manner. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's also like an art form, and it's an anime that carries a message in its own way. What do you think about High School of the Dead being on this blacklisted list?
I think it's actually I believe it's on the list because of the fact that the government believes that it's like near like pornographic stuff. Although it's not exactly hentai, it's still like it's kind of near that from like how they see as pornographic. So
no, definitely.
So what I believe is that like if you saw like what the clip that they saw, which I saw even before the podcast, like I believe that yeah, I can see why it would make it on the blacklist.
No, I do see why like this anime, I do see why it's on the blacklist, and I do agree with you that it does like have some extremely like heavy sexual themes in there, and it really plays off that. And I don't know, like for you, like as a girl, when you watch that kind of stuff, like what goes through your head? What's your like opinion on like how they on like the clips you watched on like or on that anime? Like, do you think they have to go that far for that sort of anime? Like, or are you able to disassociate? Like, oh, it's just an anime. It's just a cartoon. It's not real life. Like, how do you interpret all of that?
It's in the middle. Like, I know it's an anime. I know it's just fictional, but at the same time, I'm just like, why do the girls have such big boobs? Like there's only like I don't know, like a couple of characters, like female characters that are like that doesn't have like giant breasts, but it's just like, okay, I understand that, but like, do they really have to like have like at least like a couple of them be interested in the main guy? They're literally in a freaking zombie apocalypse. Are like focus on survival, damn it.
No, yeah, the focus definitely is survival, and I do think like this anime. I understand why I understand why people would accept it as being blacklisted, and why people would want it to have it blacklisted for those like hypersexualized themes and everything. So it does. I do think that like with the clip you saw, and I've watched that entire anime just because like I wanted to do this blacklisted podcast. So I knew that like going into this podcast like you need to like know what you're talking about. So that's why I watched it. And I don't know from like from the first episode when like the first zombie like you see like the main character sees the zombie like bite someone I think it was like a police officer, and then like it spreads out the school, and like this gang of friends is like kind of like has to fight their way through the zombies. Like I like that concept a lot, but I don't know, like that the way they like hypersexualize everything is like, I'm like sometimes I ask myself, why do you have to play that card? Is it to make it more appealing? Is it because like some people are gonna like really appreciate it? I don't know.
Yeah. I have watched the OVA, which is not a good place to start off, which is like very, very, very sexual, and it's like a beach episode.
Oh my god, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's not a really good place to start off. It's just like, what the fuck am I watching?
No, I understand. I understand what you mean by that. Yeah.
So since then, I haven't even brought myself to watching High School with the Dead.
Okay, to each their own. Does that covers it for you too? Yeah, I think we're done. We're good. See you guys next week. No, I'm kidding.
No.
All right. Next anime that I wanted to hit on and talk about, and definitely the most intense of the three that we're going to talk about during this podcast specifically. This anime is called Yuki. I've been like opening all of these. Like, go ahead. Like, rant me about Blood Sea. What was your thoughts when you watched that clip? Like, just go ahead. The floor is yours. Am I gonna regret this decision?
Here's the thing: is that like as I'm watching like all the friggin' scenes of like where characters like die in a gruesome way, like the gruesome scenes, there's like a lot of people getting killed in the most gruesome way, and like although I have a sadistic side, and it's just like making me kind of grin a bit as I'm watching this, but at the same time I'm terrified. So like when I laugh, it's more like I'm a terrified laugh. Like it's more like a so it's just
right.
It's the only way I could stay sane. Well, and I almost had to like leave the room at like in the middle of it, but it's just too good. It's good for my like inspiration for like scenes like this.
Okay, no, I see what you mean. Okay, yeah.
I'm sorry I went on a tangent, but this is me.
No, it's perfect. I love it. Don't worry.
I'm talking about the audience.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I forgot.
You're already used to this.
I should be at this point. It's only episode 11. Okay, so smooth transition inserted here. Basically, the plot of Blood Sea here. There's this girl called Saya. All you watched, Yuki, was like the killing scenes, the link on the article. But Saya is like a Hinata type character. That's the way I really perceive her, because she's this very shy and nice girl, and very like caring, and like she's very like she really reminds me of Hinata. And basically the way it goes is that she's trained to use the art of the sword, and it's the sword in this where she lives is the only thing that can defeat the Elder Barons, and the Elder Barons are all those like creatures killing like all these human beings. And like as the anime goes on, like she starts to get to like know more about like who she is, what her real like actual origin is, and all this stuff. And it's like in the anime it takes a crazy turn out at the end. And I absolutely, like, I don't know, like, it was kind of a tough anime to watch. Like, I definitely had to, like, I watched like 2-3 episodes, and then I didn't watch it for a whole week, and I was like, okay, I gotta finish this anime. So I kind of forced myself to watch it. It wasn't like, it's like, I gave it like a 6 out of 10, 7 if I'm like being really nice. And it's very like gory, and it's very, very, very intense. And this one, it's like a no-brainer for me why it's banned. Like, I completely understand it. I'm not even going to fight you on it. Like, it's banned for a good reason. It's banned because it's really, like, really bloody and really good.
Oh, yeah.
What do you expect with the name with, like, Blood Sea? Like, literally the name Blood is in the title of the anime. Like,
a lot
it's not
of
going to be like Teletubbies. A lot of blood. Yes, exactly. A lot of blood is going to be shed. and like, if you guys like a gory anime, I don't think there's a better anime than Bloodsea for you, because I mean, this thing is way more intense than I could absolutely imagine. Like, I thought it was. Like, I saw a couple of clips of it on Facebook. I was like, oh, I'll check it out, and then I watched it, and I was like, this is like the
terrifying.
The blood is crazy. It's crazy. It's really intense. So I do understand why this anime, it's really gory and everything. But here's my question to you. What's more offensive to people? A gory anime like this, or a hypersexualized one like High School of the Dead? Like, what's more, in 2016, at the time we're recording this podcast, what's more offensive to people in your opinion, Yuki?
Oh, God. Well, like, most offensive to me, the sexual content. Like extreme, like incredibly extreme sexual content, because of the fact that, well, personally, that's how I believe is like more offensive to at least some people. Where there is Blood Sea, where there's like a bunch of people being killed in the most gruesome way. If you look at them in a comparison, you would think, like, how people would feel about this. Like, with Bloodsea, it's just people getting killed in gruesome way, where there is High School of the Dead, where it exposes like a lot of sexual content, even though it's not exactly hentai. That's what I think.
No, but I mean, it's borderline.
Well, yeah, like, High School of the Dead is definitely borderline hentai.
To cap it off on Bloodsea, for me personally, like, very gruesome and intense anime. And I understand why it's banned in China, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna repeat this probably a couple more times in the podcast. I'm an anime viewer, and I enjoy watching anime for the art of it, for the storyline, for what it has to offer in that sense. If it gets hypersexualized at one point, or it gets really gory at one point, I'm able to know that it's just a cartoon and it stays at that and doesn't go any further than that. And some people aren't, and some people, will get really offensive and offended by that. Like, who would create such content? And I understand those people, but at the end of the day, it's just a cartoon. It's just another art form for me. Would you agree with that, Yuki?
Somewhat.
What's your take? Like, what do you not agree with?
Well, here's the thing: is that I usually like to see myself like being a part of that world, like, because it makes my like imaginations just fly. If I imagine myself in that kind of situation where it becomes more like fun and kind of thrill-seeking for me as an audience member of just watching that anime, I do like at times I do like feel like I'm there, but then like if it gets like too much for me to handle, it's like I do, and I'm not afraid to say this, I do get like upset at times, but then eventually I'll just calm down and remind myself it's just a show. It's just an anime. Calm down.
I think that's like the core of it. You have to remember it's just a show. It's just an anime, and that's it. That's it. You leave it at that. If you're able to lock it up at that, and you're able to move on to your next series that you want to watch as a anime fanatic like ourselves, I think that's the healthy thing to do here.
That's the most mature thing to do.
Yes, exactly. All right, so that kind of covers the 3 animes that we wanted to talk about. But this list had 38 different animes that were banned.
I actually found the list before we got here. Like, the list of animes, like the list of titles that were also banned.
So, were there any in there that you wanted to kind of touch on real
Sword
quick?
Art Online 2.
Why is that doing that? I watched the first Sword Art. I watched the first few couple episodes of Sword Art Online 2, but I don't get it.
This. Why is it there? Like,
I don't know.
Like, was there something?
That's weird to me. It's like some bonus clips I missed or something.
I have no idea. I haven't even watched Sword Art Online 2. Actually, I have seen at least some because, my idol is in that anime, so I watch her stuff.
Okay, I see what you mean. Okay, yeah.
But like overall, I don't really see. Oh! I think I understand.
Revelation on the podcast. Why do you understand? Because I don't. Please enlighten me.
This is gonna be my theory. This is gonna be my guess. But okay, this is gonna be some spoilers a bit.
Okay, spoiler warning.
Please put on the spoiler warning sign.
Yeah.
Okay, and so in the anime, like afterwards when during I think it was like a tournament or competition thing, but like Kirito and Sinon finds out about like what the antagonist does, like. And apparently, when a character is killed off, to say, by, like... What was the antagonist's name?
Oh, I forget.
Anyways.
I haven't watched anime forever. By the antagonist?
Well, the thing is that, like, there was a point where, like, every time they kind of kill off a character, like, their avatar, he does, the enemy does this, like, freaking, Trinity thing. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and then, like, afterwards, it's just, like, in a way, it kind of... And then later on, it reveals that the antagonist's brother was also responsible for like the killings by kind of killing like the people that the main antagonist was attacking first. I guess they made a list of that.
Okay, another one I wanted to talk about that I was like, I understand why it's on the list, but I was still kind of surprised was Attack on Titan. What?
I think I understand that
Attack
one too.
on Titan. It's absolutely an epic anime, and I want season 2 to be released. Like, released it, like, now. Like, what are you doing?
Okay, I understand Attack on Titan, though.
Okay, go ahead.
People, like Titans are literally killing people. It's, like, no different. Well, it's, like, somewhat different from, like, Blood Sea, but, like, more toned down.
Oh, it's way more toned down than Blood Sea. Blood Sea is, like, a 14. Attack on Titan is, like, an 8.
Exactly. So I'm pretty sure that's why, because like a lot of people die in Attack on Titan, even the most loved ones.
I know.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. We were saying like, whenever like your favorite anime character dies, you go through that like sad stage.
Everyone goes through that stage.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of people went through that stage while watching Attack on Titan. Like that's just for sure.
I'm so sorry for your guys' loss. I'm sorry.
So, yeah, no, we're sorry about that, guys. And then another one that I saw there, where is it? There you go. Another is on the list. Another is an anime that I watched this like about a year ago, and I just remember like the calamities and the new student that shows up in the classroom, and then after like a couple episodes, people start like dying, and I do understand why it's on the list. Like, what did you think of another, and what do you think about it being on this list?
I could understand why China would blacklist that anime too. Just like, okay, a girl being like dying from tripping, and then her umbrella going through her eye to her skull. Right.
That was the first death, and I mean. That one's really intense.
And then, like, dying
from,
and then, like somebody dying, like, a teacher literally stabbing himself on the throat, and then, like, there's a student that, like, gets killed from a boat.
Oh, I remember that. The last episode, okay, spoiler warning, the last episode, oh my god, like, when they kill off everyone? Are you kidding me? That episode was so intense.
But that's good. I mean, like, it would be boring if it was cliche and leave the main character alive.
No, I know, but like so intense that episode. Like just everyone dying. Like every minute someone died that episode. It was like it was
You're
crazy.
Watching everyone die in front of you, even the most loved one.
Exactly. So Yeah, no, that anime was really intense. Is there any other animes on this list that you kind of wanted to touch on, or does that do it for you?
Butler.
Okay, go ahead. I didn't watch Black Butler, so you can speak on that.
Okay. I'm just confused as of why it's blacklisted, but then I remembered of the fact that Black Butler is basically an anime or like a freaking like series about a young boy and his demon butler. And so as I was thinking to myself, why is it blacklisted? There was a cult. I'm listening it down. There was a cult. There's literally a demon. At one point, a demon had to have sex with a nun to get information. Oh my god. And then England gets burned down, but technically it's not canon. And then it's just oh frick, god. And then there's a freaking black market auction.
Damn, that's intense.
If I think of it that way, then yes, I would then agree that yeah, China, why I would see that China would blacklist Black Butler. But God, if my friend was here, she would just be like, "Excuse me, there's a lot more stuff that." A lot more reasons why Black Butler would be blacklisted.
Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. Then on this list, there's this. At the beginning of the podcast, it said there was a surprise at the end. If you stuck around, we're gonna start to get into it here. One of the animes on this list is one of my personal favorites. I even said it on the last episode that it was my second favorite anime ever. Death Note is banned in China.
Expected.
Death Note, that's very, very easily expected. I completely understand why Death Note is there, and it's a very, very intense. For you guys who don't know what Death Note is, basically, long story short, there's the gods of death realm. There's the human realm. A god of death drops this book that basically, if you write someone's name in it and you picture their face, they die. Some guy picks it up and he decides to cleanse the world of all criminals, and he goes on a massive killing spree. That's the shortest version I can give you guys. And Death Note is a very, very intense anime, and there's definitely a lot of there's not as much blood as Blood Sea, obviously, but there's a lot of deaths. There's a lot of very serious and it's very dark anime. What are your thoughts on Death Note being on this list?
Compared to the other animes, I don't exactly see. Well, then again, I'm trying to look at at China's point of view as of why they would blacklist that anime. But then I realized that Death Note is also literally even kills important people. Literally kills important people, not just criminals. He also killed L.
Why? You should have probably hit the spoiler warning before you said that. Just saying.
Anyways, but also the fact that the Death Note is interactive with the Shinigamis. So, and the fact, and how it can be, what I would say, misused. It's just, Death Note is kind of crazy in its own way. So, yeah.
No, it is very crazy.
Yeah, that's my thoughts.
For me, Death Note, I understand why it's on the list, but I feel like out of all the animes here, I might be wrong. Maybe not. No, I think I'm right on this one. I think Death Note is probably one of the more popular animes on this list, and I feel like having that one banned in China probably made it the biggest uproar, one of the bigger uproars of why would you ban this? I heard I was watching this video called 107 Facts about Death Note. I heard I forget where I was, but police officers would be going to manga shops, and anyone who carried the Death Note. Death Note mangas, they would take them away, and that's it. They really wanted to ban Death Note to as much as possible. They wouldn't air it anymore.
In Japan?
Yeah, I forget where it was. I forget if it was Japan or China. But it's this video called 107 Facts about Death Note, And like one of the facts was like that Death Note was being banned, and like they would go to like the shops and like grab the manga and like make sure no one was carrying it anymore. It's pretty intense, eh?
So Canadian.
Oh, come on.
But yeah, that is extremely intense. Sorry, guys, that's just like the inside joke.
I'm gonna find some American jokes for you. Don't worry about it. Okay,
Alrighty.
so get him in while you still can, Yuki. Get him in while you still can. Okay, so let's get into this. I guess more final point. 9 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, back in 2007, there was a murder called the manga murder that occurred. On a Monday, 4 suspects were arrested in a case that was 3 years old at the point, where body parts were found with pieces of the Death Note. They found like mutilated corpse. There was a torso. There were 2 thighs, and they found this in a forest in Brussels. And basically, attached to these body parts were 2 notes, and they both said "Watashi wa kira desu," and apparently that's a mistranslation
Watashi wa kira desu.
Yeah, and apparently that's a mistranslation of Kira, which Kira stands for killer. So I am killer, and it was right away people knew it was linked to Death Note because Kira. And back in the 2007, Death Note was like really like it was very popular and everything. And so I mean, a couple of like details on the case. The bodies was found like a day or 2 old when they were found. The body was like a Caucasian between 20 and 30 years old. The location of the victim was very close to the highest point of Brussels. And people think it's like a symbolic to the location since Kira acts like a god, so like God is higher up in the sky. And the thighs of the body were shaved and possibly pointing in the direction of a psychopathic act. Okay, so basically that happened, and then like they had witnesses. They arrested 4 suspects, if I'm not mistaken. In June 2013, 2 suspects were convicted to prison for 20 years, and a 3rd suspect was convicted to 23 years. So they arrested 4 people, and 3 of them got arrested and went to jail. And very recently, one of them was arrested in Gabon in May 15th this year, and transferred back to the prison in Belgium because he escaped. So this year, like one of the murderers like escaped. So this happened. This case is absolutely heartbreaking, and I want to take a moment and like really extend my thoughts to the families of the victims and the victims themselves. And it's absolutely horrifying and disgusting to see that people who watch anime and people who are like into this type of culture will get influenced and go out there and commit a murder. It's a very intense murder. I don't talk this like with any lightheartedness in my voice. It's absolutely disgusting, and it's very hard to talk about. But I do want to bring it up to in the podcast because I mean we are talking about this into this controversial episode, and I think this is like the most controversial thing that I have really come across in all of anime and all of the years I've been watching and talking about anime. Yuki, I mean, the floor is yours. What are your thoughts on all of this?
I'm also very disgusted by this. Like, with Death Note, it's not supposed to influence anyone like that. It's supposed to be a manga, like that's talking about a story. It's talking about a story. And the fact that, like, the only influence you can have from it is, like, story ideas. Well, to me at least. Not like this. This is heartbreaking and horrifying to think about, like, because a killing spree like this existing, like, happening in real life, that is horrifying to think about. And the fact that, like, somebody or, like, some people, like, having, like, influence from this and doing something as sick as like killing others in such gruesome ways like this, like, yeah, I may be kind of like sadistic in a way, but like that's for like story ideas. In real life, it's terrifying because like you don't like the power of what like stuff like that can do. Like manga, anime, even though it's supposed to be like a show, it can easily it has the power to influence something that's just like a nightmare. Like it's even scary for me. The fact that how scary it is the fact that like the corpses. I realized that when like like I believe it was like the first corpse, I believe, it was found in September 28th, 2007 on a Friday, which means it was like like about like 9 years ago. That's also
we're coming up
what
on
is
the 9th year.
horrifying.
No, it is really horrifying.
It's just scary to think about, man.
No, it's very scary to think about, and it's a very sensitive topic to touch. And I don't know. When I started this podcast, and I remember the first episode I did. I started this podcast with Kyo, and the first episode we did was Naruto. And now we're 10 episodes later. We're episode 11, and we're talking we're touching some very sensitive topics. And I think the reason why I want to talk about this, and the reason why I wanted to bring this to light, was to give you guys that. Even though it's a show, and like Yuki and I are able to separate that, and it's just at the end of the day, it's just a show. Some people aren't, and it's very hard to see that, and it's very hard to know that we live in a world where people commit such horrible acts. And I have like this, with this podcast and my channel and everything, like I have this platform where people listen to what I have to say and my opinions. And I do think that it's very important to use that platform to let you guys know that, there's some dark things out there in life. And even though this podcast and everything, I try to make it like child friendly and family friendly, I wanted to make this episode to like talk about some real life hard hitting facts. And that's why I did it. And I just want to let you guys know about this and really point to your attention that it's not an easy world out there. And there's some really disgusting things that happen. I mean, it's so sad to see this happen to these people. And because of Death Note, really? Because you watched a show of a guy who picked up a book and killed people? Because you're not able to separate that? That's disgusting.
That's the scary thing about how much even anime or in manga could influence such horrifying things. That's a scary thing.
No, exactly. Well said. Very well said. Oh man, it's a very.
This is why
this
is why we said that this podcast is not going to be exactly family friendly like before. This is why we said that it was going to be not safe for work at all.
No,
it's
exactly.
Gonna be,
and I mean,
this is gonna be not safe for work, and even I'm speechless. But I gotta say that this is definitely the most intense. I'm sorry for people who
it really is.
Can't really get through to hearing this, but I'm sorry.
Yeah, I do want to say I do apologize if this podcast and any of our opinions or thoughts or subjects offend you, but this is something that I felt was important to talk about and important to highlight, and it has to be said at some point because these things are real life facts. And I'm sorry if I offended any of you. That's not the goal of this. This point is to raise awareness about these things that are part of the anime culture, in a sense. So I mean, those are final thoughts on everything for myself. Is that I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say anymore. Final thoughts for me is that this act is obviously horrifying. These banned animes, they have their reasons why they're banned. It's just at the end of the day, we're gonna repeat myself. You have to be able to separate yourself from the show when you watch it. That's it. That's what I have to say. Any final thoughts on everything, Yuki?
Exactly what Jaian said. Don't ever do that. Don't get too into something like that because it could really mess you up. Always, just go outside, take a deep breath. Don't get too deep into something like that and just get bad in. Don't let bad things influence you to do something like this because it's not gonna be like the show at all. You're just showing that it's just too horrifying. You're bringing the like the case here. It's bringing the horror from the actual show to real life. That is what I think. It's scary.
No, it's okay. I think that's going to do it for the actual topic. We're going to start closing it out. Let you guys know what's going to be happening. Next episode, definitely going to be way more lighthearted. We have a couple topics that would be nice to talk about. I'll see. We might have a guest in the works, depending. They're working on getting their mic set up to join the podcast, and I really hope that we can get them on for the next episode.
Yeah!
Yuki, where can people... Yeah, that's a little bit of a ray of sunshine for this podcast. Yuki, where can people find you online?
Miraculous X Yuki on Twitter and Miraculous X Melody on YouTube. I might work on a Facebook page. I'm not really sure.
Let me know if you do. I'll help you out with that.
All right. But that's going to be in the works.
All right.
But I also need to ask Jaian something about, a little favor, if that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. Live on the podcast or after?
Afterwards. Because I want to be a surprise.
Afterwards, okay. Oh. Okay, well, it's going to be... of course, I'll help you out with anything. All right, on my end, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Subscribe to the channel, JaianMusic. Help me reach 10,000 subscribers. My Twitter is @JaianMusic. I have, by the time that you're listening to this podcast, let me see. I have 2 videos that came out by the time you're listening to this podcast. I have a brand new Bleach remix, a song from Bleach that I remixed, and I'm really proud of. And I also did a quick side podcast with Kyo where we talked about Trigun, which is another anime. It was pretty funny. We recorded the episode, and he was like recording the podcast from his car. And right when we finished the episode, he opens the window and turns on the AC. He's like, "Oh my god, I'm sweating so much recording this episode." I'm like, "Do it for the podcast, bro." So thank you so much, Kyo, for that. And I'm also on Facebook, JaianMusic. Guys, thank you so much for checking out this episode. We will see you in the next one. Anything else you want to add, Yuki? I'm sorry.
Okay, hold on. I got something. Everyone, go tweet at Jaian and say, "So Canadian."
Okay, go tweet me, "So Canadian." How about hashtag "So Canadian"?
Yes.
Okay, hashtag "So Canadian."
Oh my god.
Guys, thank you guys so much. Next episode is going to be amazing. Thank you so much once again, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye.
I love you. Ah.